Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast, where you'll be not only allowed, but encouraged to dream big dreams and imagine the very best future for yourself and your family. Throw away expectations and perfection and embrace the messy beauty of what it means to be a marvelous mom. I'm your host, Kirsten Tyrell, and I can't wait to help you discover what makes you marvelous. Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. This is going to be a good one. You're going to want to gather around. You're going to understand why I said that and listen in, because this is going to be such a fantastic one. If you are longing for more connection with your kids and you're really wanting to, feel like a family again, I guess in so many ways, there's so many distractions. And my guest today is going to help us figure out a way to do that. Her name is Jennifer Zumbiel, and I'm so excited to have you here. We've been chatting for a while, and now we're going to share the rest of our conversation with you guys. So welcome to the podcast, Jennifer. I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks for having me, Kirsten. I'm so excited to share with your audience and get to chat a little more.
Of course. So I like to kind of paint a picture of what your home life and mommy life looks like for everybody listening, just so they can relate to you if they're the same, or be like, oh yeah, I remember when, if they're past that. So tell everybody how many kids you have, their ages, stages, and all that fun stuff.
All right. I'm giggling because you said if people can relate to me, I think they will. I've got a lot of craziness in my life. I have 4 children. We have 3 daughters, ages 11, 10, and 7, and a 3-year-old boy, which has been such a treat to have a new little gender in our family. Boys are very much fun. It's funny because you paint your picture yourself as, a girl mom for so long. And then all of a sudden you become a boy mom, and I got to figure it all out.
Yeah.
My husband and I have been married for almost 15 years, and he travels a lot. I'm at home a lot. He still gets home to coach the kids' soccer, and I coach some basketball. So we're very involved with our children. We do all the running around, the carpooling. We're very busy. We try not to overschedule too much, but we also have 4 children that like to get into everything, and we like to give them a taste of their interest and really try to foster that. So we get to be a little busy, but we just work it into our lives the best way we can, and have a lot of fun with it.
Awesome. I love it. Well, that's a pretty good picture painted of, I think people can relate to that if they have kids in the same stage, and any children who are kind of similar, and we're into everything. So thank you for that background. And all of that being said, I just think it's important to know the stage of life mothers are at, because the mission really here of the podcast, of the brand, of this community is to help kind of enlighten and show women what's possible, because so many women feel compelled to do something with that inner goodness that they have, their gifts of motherhood. They want to apply it in multiple ways. They really want to share their heart. And I like people to hear that people are doing it and they're making it happen, even in spite of, and actually because of the circumstances they have at home, how many kids they have, the craziness. So tell everybody a little bit about what you do. They'll understand my weird, dumb little joke in the beginning when I said gather around and listen. You want to tell them what I'm talking about?
Yes. Okay. So I run a business called Togather Moments, and our flagship product is Togather mealtime games. So we have several in a varieties of our mealtime games, and we are all about giving people time. It's about time. That is what we talk about. It's about family. It's about connecting. It's about gathering around that table. It's about time. And I just painted that picture of my life. And I will mention right now that I am sitting at my parents' house while my mom is having lunch with my 3-year-old, and my 7-year-old is sick on the couch because she has a stomach virus and she couldn't go to school. And that's just how you have to do life. And I'm fitting this into the small moment of my day. And I think that's how we have to look at everything. I think there's so much pressure in our lives to, in modern world, looking at social media and looking at everything around us, and the pressure of other parents that our kids go to school with, or whatever it might be, that we have to be these Pinterest moms, and our homes have to be perfect for people to come into, and our setup has to be perfect to have these incredible memories made with our children. And we have to have this grand event to connect with our family members. And we don't. I think we just have to take the pressure off and realize that everything happens in the small moments. And if we don't realize that, the time's going to get away from us and we're going to wonder where the heck it went and regret that we never took advantage of that time. So
Mhm.
my business is it's a game in the form of a book is my flagship product, and it's called Togather, a game to plant and harvest moments with families around the table.
I love it.
And thanks. And I feel like, you know, this product was dreamt up about 3 years ago. And I just felt like we're all getting to a point in our society where face to face communication is just becoming a lost art. And I don't think anyone would deny that. And not because we want it to be, but just
Mhm.
because of our seasons of life and the circumstances surrounding it. You know, we have a whole lot of competition with distractions and screens and
Oh,
everything
so
else,
many. Yes.
right?
That's
We
a good
all
phrase. It's
know.
all a competition. It is. It's a competition for the most valuable thing, which is our time.
It absolutely is. And if we're not careful, it's just a slow fade to that point. And I don't think, again, that we have to create these grand moments in our life to get to that. I just think we all need a little push and a little nudge. And I do have a teaching background. I have a master's in secondary ed.
Hmm.
And I have such a heart for teens and preteens and that whole age group. And I also have young children. So I knew that there was a way to talk to people and connect. And I feel like, you know, we all have to sit around a dinner table and eat together, whether we're making time for that or not is another issue and another episode. And that's fine because I'm there too. I mean, I'm juggling carpool and track meets and dance classes and all this kind of stuff every night. But, um, but if we can just take time to sit there and be intentional about creating the conversation that matters, we're all going to connect pretty quickly if it's done the right way. So I created this game that has fold out sticker pages. That's our thing, is stickers.
Mm,
And what you do is you choose a category, you pass the game, you peel a sticker, and then you just talk about the conversation prompt that is on there.
that's awesome.
And the categories are all very different. Some are lighthearted and some get really deep really quickly, which a lot of us need. There's one category is called warm and fuzzy, and that one is really what launched this whole idea for me. So it's things like, um, who has the next birthday at the table? Tell them what their best three qualities are, or tell the tallest person at the table a character trait you hope to emulate one day. So those are conversation starters that we're probably not, you know, naturally bringing to our day, not because we don't want to, but because it just doesn't fit in naturally to our day.
Yeah.
But if the sticker tells you to do it, you're going to talk about it.
Hmm.
So again, all I can say is it's about time. And I just feel like there's a way to bring that to people, and that's my mission.
I love it so much. And again, it's like coming back, I just want to bring awareness to that whole story with everybody listening, because I never want this podcast to be a space of like, oh, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should do that. It's not a matter of this is the best business model or everybody should go out and turn everything they know into a game or whatever. But I think there's like so much layered messaging in that you found something you were very passionate about. I love that you gave your educational background. And this is something that, yes, kind of came natural, but it was just something kind of born of awareness of a gap that you found in your own family and a way that you wanted to create more of that connection, and you use that and you've created something that now benefits other people. And that's really all it takes to start something when you feel called to do something, you know, a step above raising your family. And I think as moms, we have such a unique quality of identifying and being problem solvers for these little people. And when we're able to stretch beyond even just helping our own children and helping another mom to accomplish the same thing, that's where a beautiful business is born. So I love that
Mm,
you've turned it into a tool that's something that I can go buy, because I don't have all the time in the world to create a sticker book and figure that out. But I love the concept that it can still be a blessing to my family. And you, in turn, are helping more and more families connect, because that is kind of the core and fundamental thing that needs to be happening in our society today. So, hats off to you and everybody listening.
Yeah.
Just round of applause for Jennifer for thinking of this brilliant idea. I love it.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback on what you said real quick there, Kirsten, about reaching out to those people who say, "Do I have to turn everything into a business idea? Do I have to do this?" I think there's so many ways that we can help each other as moms. Think about every listener out there can think of something that they are good at, that moms ask them about, whether it's, you know, how do you not have laundry sitting all around your house, or
Hmm.
how do you get your kids to do their homework when they come home from school, or I don't know, those are just top things I'm thinking of right now, maybe because I need help with those, but um, someone's coming to you for advice, and if you can just help one person, I know that sounds cliche, but it really does matter to those people that you are helping. Everybody has a gift or a strength in some area, and laundry and homework doing doesn't sound like a big strength, but I'm just saying there's little things throughout our day that I think we as moms don't give ourselves enough credit for, of how we can actually teach someone else and help another mom have an easier day,
Hmm.
because we cannot figure everything out by ourselves.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, they say it does take a village, and I know that's such a cliche, old school thing to say, but it is true. And these days, our village is digital, right? Like, I heard
That's very
I
true.
heard the funniest joke from a comedian the other night, actually, that said, they say it takes a village. As long as the village has Wi Fi, you're good to go. Like, just give your kid an iPad. I'm like, yeah, I totally understand that. But it's so true because we have Wi Fi in this village of motherhood. You're not very far away from somebody who might be able to enhance your life through something she's already figured out. So it's really
Mm-hmm.
cool. And it's awesome to be able to come on to a platform and be able to share that, because I know there's so many moms listening who are like, yes, that's what we need at mealtime. I know there's times we sit down at the dinner table and I'll be honest, there's times I just want silence because it's been so loud while we're cooking and the kids are running all over the place. And then I just have that nagging thing that's like, no, this is where connection has to happen. This is where we have to ask them questions. Between mouthfuls of food, I need to know what they're thinking and how they're feeling. And the food is what's keeping them tied to our presence right now. And they're not running everywhere. And we're here and we are gathered. And so, how can we maximize on that time? That's actually usually when we read scriptures as a family, because the kids are like, well, I have to focus because all I have to do right now is use my hands and feed myself. And so I love the idea of having more of that connection and that activity that you can do around the table, when I think it's just innately what happens with our attention span is that we are tuned in,
Mm-hmm.
but it's good to have those
But
things.
yes, and I think when you're sitting around that table, you already have a captive audience. So, how are you going to use that time?
Yeah.
You have choices there. And if you don't use it wisely, you just missed out on a huge opportunity of growth.
Hmm.
I will, I'm a big proponent of watch the side conversations going on at the dinner table, because you're leaving people out. And again, that's an opportunity to learn from them, to grow from them, to get to know them, even the youngest child sitting at the table. And I'll give an example. Just 2 nights ago, we played together, and we did a category where it's called Who Who.
Mm.
And all the stickers ask you to name the person in your family at the table, or you could do this with friends too, of course, but who fits that description. So my sticker was, who is most likely to give to a stranger in need?
Oh, I love that.
And, we first talked about holding doors. I have one child who always loves to run up and hold the door for people. And then, of course, talking about the story of my husband running out to help some elderly lady rake her leaves or
Hmm.
whatever, right? But then it led to a really good conversation. And I said, you know what? I don't know. What does that mean to help a stranger in need? Would any of us at this table walk down a street, see someone freezing, and take our coat off our back and give it to them?
Mm.
I don't know that we would do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't done that. So is the answer no? I wouldn't. I guess so, because I've never done that. I've certainly walked past homeless people, right?
Right.
I'm sure. And it really led to a great, deep conversation with my family very quickly about that whole concept. Like, maybe we actually do need to have more of a servant's heart, because we don't naturally just do that. And I think, again, that could be another whole podcast episode, just that one topic there. But my point is that if you already have a point in your day where you're sitting around, and even if it's 20 minutes, you can create such good conversation from one really good prompt, because you have so many minds working there with things to say. Everyone has something to say. There is not a single person who doesn't want to talk. They just need to be given the opportunity. So, I said I taught high school students. I made every one of these questions. I had several requirements for what they had to do. They had to dig deeper. They had to get past the surface. They could not give a one-word answer, and they had to get a teenager to talk.
Yeah.
Because I knew if you could get a teenager to talk, you can get anyone to talk. And I always say that's not a demographic that doesn't want to speak. Of course they do.
Yeah.
It's just you got to reach them the right way.
Exactly.
Um, so yeah, I just think we all need to be more aware of those moments we
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. Not wasting those opportunities. I've started homeschooling. And so leading up to that, I read a book about homeschooling. It was by Julie Bogart, and it's called, of course, it's going to leave my mind the second I start talking about it. It'll come to me. But I loved it because she talked about like not missing out on moments that can become very magical and very, I guess, just like organically beautiful, because your child could come in and tell you something that's super far fetched, and you could be like, yeah, um, sorry, your child could go and say something far fetched, and you could be like, no, what are you even talking about? Like, no, that's not real. Or you could, play into the fantasy, you could play into it, and you'll lead to this whole evolution of like, oh my gosh, there's so much like to discover with this topic or whatever. And I'm like, man, I wonder how many times I've
Mm,
kind of squashed conversations because I've missed the chance and I've missed like the door opening, right? With and
mhm.
and then it's kind of sad too, because depending on what season of life you're at with your children, there is a time when the door will start to close a little bit more and more as they become older and they're not as interested in what you have to say. And so having that, we like have such a limited chance to just get the words in and get the connection, and we miss that and we don't get to take it back. It's a lot harder to open the door later on. So
Oh, that's so true. I always say to my kids in teachable moments about trusting them or something. I always say, if I can trust you in the little things, you got to give me a reason to trust you in the little things so I can trust you in the big things when those come up. And I think it's the exact same thing with them coming to us with the little things. If they feel comfortable to come to us with the little things when they're little, even though they seem huge to them, right? They will come to us with those big things when it's big, because you are modeling just what you said, that what they say is important.
mhm.
And I think it's so important. Together's mission is certainly these mealtime games in particular. But that's our overall mission is just to give people that time. It's about time. It's about that connection, and giving tips of how to make all that count. I think one thing I know I can do better, and I work on it daily. I do, even though I preach it, is to look up. If I'm folding laundry, if I'm washing dishes and my child has something to say, look up and make that eye contact, because if it's what you said, I can't remember exact phrase you used, but it'll pass.
Mhm.
If we don't give them that chance right then, well, mom doesn't care. You know what? How many times do you hear your kids say, oh, never mind, it doesn't matter
Yeah,
anymore?
yeah,
And it's mostly because we just didn't listen when they wanted to tell
yeah,
us, even if it was some silly story about school. And think what that could have led to, another magical moment, like you
yeah.
said, or whatever it might be. And I just think, it doesn't take much more to be aware of that during our day. I can fold a shirt looking at my kids' eyes. I've done it 100,000 times.
True. So true.
I can give them that attention. I can also put it down because realistically, the conversation is probably going to last 5 minutes
Hmm.
because that's still a long
Yeah.
conversation if you are intentional about it,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Um, so yeah, I think that there's so much good to come out of catching all those times to
Yeah,
talk.
I agree.
But to our spouse too, not just our
Yeah,
children,
because it's a family-wide conversation. It's not just the kids. That's an opportunity for the kids to get to hear from you as parents and what your stories are and why you have that perspective. And it's not just I think it really eliminates that, well, this is what we believe because this is how it is. It's like, oh, that's how mom came to understand that. Maybe someday I'll have an experience like that of my own. Or, oh, that's really cool. I didn't even know I can never picture my mom as a child. So that's really interesting. Their brains just get to work a little
Mm-hmm.
differently. So that's what I love so much about the game itself is that everybody's playing. It's not just you supervising a childhood game, it's a family situation and everybody gets to come together, which is so beautiful.
Yes. And the benefits that come out of it are more than just learning stories in that moment, right?
Yeah.
It's listening skills, it's eye contact, it's positive mannerisms when you're speaking to someone. It's so much conversation skills and communicating that they will then carry over and it will just become habit in their
Hmm.
life. So they're called games, but they're really tools for building that communication style that you want, that you
Yeah.
expect in your family. We should all have expectations for how our families communicate with one
Yeah, I
another.
totally agree. Okay, so if people want to go check this out, I will obviously I always do link to everything that we're talking about here. And I did remember the name of the book I was talking about. It was The Brave Learner. For a minute, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I almost said the
What is
name
it
of your
again?
blog, but no, it's The Brave Learner is the book I was talking about by Julie Bogart. I'm going to work on getting her here on the podcast as well. But where can everybody go if they're just listening right now and they immediately want to type this in their phone? Where can they go to get the game, to learn more about you, read your blog, all the good things?
We are Together Moments on Instagram and Facebook. Our website is togethermoments.com. And if you go to togethermoments.com/try, you can try a sample of
Awesome.
our stickers. So one from each category. Our game has 105 stickers,
Wow.
our mealtime game. And then we have a lunch game and some other things as well.
That's so fun. And I've loved perusing and looking at the different things you have on there. So for sure go check that out, you guys. I love what Jennifer's created. I'm personally gonna get it for myself because this is definitely we always have complaining about the food we're eating at dinner instead of let's bring the focus to let's be excited to play a game at the dinner table and then just eat what's put in front of you instead. So I think it's brilliant and I can't wait for everybody to go check it out. So thank you for that.
No, thanks for having me, Kirsten.
Of
I very
course.
much appreciate it.
Of course. Okay, I have one final question for you before I let you go.
Yes.
What makes you a marvelous mom?
So many things. No, I'm just teasing. Um,
I love that answer. You just end it right there. Basically everything.
you know what? I will end with this story. We just went to Smoky Mountains in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, by your neck of the woods a little bit,
Yeah.
last week for spring break. And we went on this uh, 4 mile out and back hike that was very challenging. And we gave family awards on the drive home. We said, let's give family awards. So my husband and I came up with them for our kids, and our kids um, came up with it in the back seat. And I got the motivator award. And
Oh.
I think that's fitting because of
Yeah.
what I've turned a business into. But um, that definitely makes me a marvelous mom. I'm always giving my kids encouraging words and lots of talks. And if the radio turns off in the car, mom's giving a pep talk. um, but actually, for that hike, there was a point where we were there with another family. We had 8 kids among us, and everybody was complaining. And we rounded up the troops, and I gave a big speech, and we put our hands in the middle, and we all, did the big like what teams do. You throw your hands up. And we
Yeah,
said,
what do you
to the
even call
top.
that? I know what you're
I
talking about.
know, the huddle. I don't know. Is there actually a name for it?
Yes, maybe it's a huddle.
A
Yeah,
huddle, a
yeah,
hand huddle. We'll call it that. And we threw our hands up and we all screamed, to the top. And it was cute. So I got the motivator award. So
I
I'm
love it.
proud to be a marvelous mom for that reason.
I love it so much. I love your answer. Thank you again for being a guest on here. Everybody go check everything out, and you're wonderful. And I hope everybody gets the game and we can all share tips and stuff on Instagram. Go follow us on Instagram. Maybe tag us if you guys end up buying the game, or just let us know you've listened to the episode so that we can connect with you and so that Jennifer can say hi. I know she's going to be taking over the Instagram this week. So thanks again for being here, Jen. I hope I can call you Jen. I feel
You
like at
can,
this point I can call you
yes,
Jen, right?
call me Jen.
All right. Well, the rest of you guys, thanks for tuning in and have a marvelous day. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to take action right now, you're feeling inspired and you're feeling enlightened, and you really want to own this role as a marvelous mom, go to the website marvelousmomsclub.com/me and create your own personal Marvelous Moms manifesto. That is a tongue twister. marvelousmomsclub.com/me. You go fill in some great information, and in the end, you'll have a beautiful manifesto to display where only you can see, or the whole family can see, where you can really, really own your role as a marvelous mom and step inside those goals and those ambitions and dreams that you have to become an even more marvelous mom to your beautiful family. So again, marvelousmomsclub.com/me. We will see you over there.